I'm Barry, live in American River, Kangaroo Island. I trap feral cats and give them another home. I keep a record of every cat that I catch, and the total's 1,438. I'm not that fussed if people have their cats. I just have the thing for the feral cat. People think I'm a cat hater, but I'm not. We just hate the feral ones. Domestic cat just sits and meows and says, meow, feed me. But it's the feral ones. The cats that I've removed would probably have killed millions of birds. The bird life around the river has dramatically improved.
G'day guys and welcome to Aussie English. My objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to speak like a fair income Aussie, or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. G'day guys, far out. It is a boiling day today. It is sweltering. It is steaming. It is incredibly hot. So yesterday it was like 34 degrees. I think today is 36. And I know some of you are from places around the world where that is nothing. You know, I understand that. But for me in Australia, especially in the very, very south part of Australia, the mainland in Victoria, 36 is getting pretty hot. Although, yeah, we've had some days in the past that got up to 48. I remember it being 51 degrees inside my car at one point in the past, and that was just ridiculous. Anyway, it's been hot, and I guess I've been suffering from it more because I've been moving house. So as you guys may or may not know, Kel and I recently moved into our new house. In fact, we moved in 2 days ago, but didn't stay there the night. Because we had all our stuff at my parents' place still, the bed stuff and everything, so we stayed here, and they had air conditioning, so that was one thing. But then last night, or yesterday, we went down there and stayed the night there, and I've been running around like a headless chook, running around like crazy, buying second-hand furniture and all sorts of things off Gumtree and Marketplace on Facebook. You may have seen the video I did on that on YouTube, so lots of collecting stuff, filling the car up, going to the new house, unloading the car, and doing that in the heat has been a massive chore. Anyway, I won't rabbit on too much about that, but that's what I've been up to. Today, the movie scene at the very start there, guys, was a clip from a Vice documentary called Shooting Cats. Now, Vice is a really good organization. They do lots of these interesting sort of docos and news articles, news items online that you can find if you just search Vice, V-I-C-E. This documentary was about the problem of cats in Australia and the hunters who tried to reduce the numbers of these feral cats. So it's a contentious issue. You know, the house moggy, your average house cat, versus the feral cat, the native animal assassin in Australia. So watch that doco, Shooting Cats. It's about 20 or 30 minutes long. It's a great chance to learn about Australian culture and to introduce yourselves to a few of Australia's more colourful characters. Strong accent warning too. And there'll be a link to that in the transcript. Anyway, that aside, guys, this is the Aussie English Podcast, the number one podcast for anyone learning Australian English or anyone learning English in general and trying to get from intermediate to advanced and beyond in their English abilities. So it's brought to you by the Aussie English Classroom. That is my online website with the courses that I put together for these episodes and a lot of other content to help you improve pronunciation, expand your vocab, and learn these expressions, as well as meet a lot of other people who are also learning English. That you can sign up for at theaussieenglishclassroom.com and is just $1 for your first month. So get in there and give it a go. If that's not your thing and you are just after the transcripts for these episodes and the MP3s and you want to download them so you can listen and read anywhere, anytime, go to theaussieenglishpodcast.com and click sign up, and for the price of one coffee per month, you will get access to all of the transcripts, all of the MP3s for all of these episodes. Anyway, that aside, let's get into the Aussie joke for today, guys. So considering we had the doco at the start there shooting cats, I thought, you know what, I will find a cat joke. Okay, so here's the joke. Why don't cats like online shopping? Why don't cats like online shopping? Why don't they like shopping online? They prefer a cat-a-log. They prefer a catalog. Do you get it? Cat-a-log, right? So you can shop online via websites, but you can also shop using catalogs, right? They're sort of like magazine style things, but for just selling products. So that's the joke. So today's expression, guys, is to not want a bar of something, or to not want a bar of it, or to not have a bar of something, or to not have a bar of it, right? You'll hear this in many different ways. Sometimes it'll be with the verb have, sometimes with want, sometimes it'll be of something, sometimes you'll just say of it. And this expression was suggested by Shinny in the Aussie English classroom. Good job, Shinny. So every week we suggest the expressions that we want to vote on, and the winning expression becomes the one for the week. Anyway, let's get into it and define the different words in this expression. So obviously to have, if you have something or you don't have something, that is that you possess the thing or you do not possess the thing, right? Like I have a t-shirt on at the moment. I have 2 parents. I have a car. I possess those things. To want. I'm sure you will all know what want is, guys. To desire something. To feel like something. At the moment, I want it to be less hot. At the moment, I want a cold drink. Want. And the last word there, guys, a bar. Now, I don't exactly know why this has been used in this expression and what exactly it is referring to, but I would imagine that somehow it's referring to a long, rigid piece of wood, metal, or similar material. So, for instance, if you go to jail, the metal sort of fence that is in front of your cell is made up of bars, right? Bars of metal. Bars of metal. So it's usually something that's like long and thin, right? So you could have a chocolate bar, right? A chocolate bar. So if you don't want a bar of something, I guess in this case it just means the bar means that you don't want a part of that thing, right? I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, let's go through the expression definition. So to not want a bar of something, if you don't want a bar of something, that is that you want nothing to do with that thing, or it could even be someone. So you're not interested at all in having anything related to do with that thing, right? So I don't want to be involved. I just want nothing to do with it, okay? I don't want a bar of it. I want nothing to do with it. And if you don't have a bar of something, or if you're not going to have a bar of something, you won't have a bar of something, you wouldn't have a bar of something, that can mean something slightly different, meaning be unable to tolerate something, to dislike something, to not accept something, or to not allow something to happen. Okay? So let's go through 3 examples of how I would use this expression, or these expressions, right? To not want a bar of something, and to not have a bar of something. Alright, so example number 1. Imagine you're a teenager, you're at school, and the next class that you have to go to is PE. And PE stands for physical education, right? So sports. So maybe you're a bit of a fat kid, you're a little bit chubby, you're overweight, and you can't run very well, you've always been a bit bad at sports, you're not very athletic, you're not much of a jock, and you get out of breath really quickly. So you really dislike exercise overall, and you think it's pointless and an unpleasant endeavor. In order to try and get out of PE class, you tell your teacher that you've got a trumpet lesson. And unfortunately, it clashes with the PE class, meaning it is on at the same time as the PE class. It clashes with it. So you have to go, and you have to do this trumpet lesson, and you have to give the PE class a miss. However, the teacher knows how much you hate PE class, and also that you're not currently learning the trumpet. So that's a bit of a lie. It's a fib. You've made up that story, okay? So although you don't want to have a bar of PE class because you hate it and want to get out of it, the PE teacher isn't going to have a bar of your excuses, and he won't let you skip class. So you don't want a bar of PE class, you want to skip it, but the teacher isn't going to have a bar of it, of your excuses, and makes you stay and do PE class instead. So you dislike PE class and you want to avoid it, you do not want a bar of it, but the teacher won't allow you to do that. So he's not having a bar of it. He's not going to put up with you trying to skip class. Example number 2. Imagine you are a gymnast or maybe an athlete, someone who likes to do parkour in the street where people run around the streets and treat stairs and other structures as sort of obstacle courses to jump through and under and over, all of that sort of stuff. So you were out training one day with your mates, but you had a fall and busted your leg, right? You hurt your leg on the concrete when you landed. It's nothing too serious or severe, but after seeing the doctor, you are told that you need to rest up. You need to take it easy, you need to recover, you need to recuperate and give your leg a few weeks to heal before you go back to training. Despite the advice the doctor's given you, you're incredibly impatient and you can't be bothered waiting. So you want to go out and train a few days after the accident, but your leg is so sore that you can't do it. Your leg isn't going to have a bar of it. Your leg's not going to allow you to do it, right? It doesn't want anything to do with training. So you might complain and say, my damn leg, I want to train, but it's not having a bar of it. Or it doesn't want to have a bar of it. Your leg isn't going to allow you to train. It won't tolerate training. It won't have a bar of it. You'll just have to rest up for a week or so. So example number 3. So let's use some informal Aussie slang, okay? Imagine you're a bloke, so an Australian male, and you're married to a ripper of a Sheila, right? And a ripper of something means an awesome thing, and a Sheila is a woman. So a ripper of a Sheila, a great woman. You're a bloke married to a ripper of a Sheila. And you guys have a bun in the oven. She's up the duff. She's expecting. She's pregnant, right? They're all different expressions for pregnant. And your first little nipper, your first little child, is going to be born in a few months. So when your little bub is born, bub as in baby, you think it's still all good for you to nick off down the pub. So go down to the pub every other night or so, go to Barbies with your mates, sink a few tinnies, a few stubbies. So these are cans and glass bottles of beer, tinnies and stubbies, and leave your wife at home, who's a recent first-time mum, all home alone with the bub to deal with it all herself. If she snaps, though, and she won't tolerate you doing this, she won't put up with you leaving her all alone at home, having fun with your mates, she's not going to have a bar of it, right? She doesn't want a bar of it. She's not going to have a bar of it. So she won't allow you to just leave her at home all alone with the baby, with the bub, and let you go off and have fun with your mates. Maybe she's upset too because she thinks you don't want a bar of her. So maybe she thinks you want nothing to do with her. You're annoyed with her, right? You don't want a bar of her. You're not interested in her or the baby. You want nothing to do with them. You dislike them. You don't want a bar of them. So being a ripper of a new dad, though, you decide you'll take it easy. You'll stay at home. You won't party anymore. You'll spend some quality time with your ripper of a Sheila, with your wife, your missus, and your bub for the near future, and you'll do your duty. Good man. Good man. Alright guys, so hopefully now you understand the expression to not want a bar of something, or to not want a bar of it, meaning to want nothing to do with it, with something, with someone. And the expression to not have a bar of something, or someone, or to not have a bar of it. And this means to be unable to tolerate something, to dislike something, to not accept something, to not allow something to happen. So as usual, let's go through a little listen and repeat exercise, guys, where you guys can practice your English pronunciation, okay? So concentrate on the way I'm linking these words, the intonation I'm using, the pronunciation, and remember, if you want to get the video breakdown of this exercise and all the other exercises in all the other courses, make sure that you sign up at theaussieenglishclassroom.com. It's just $1 for your first month. The link will be in the transcript, but check it out if you want to work on your spoken English. Anyway, let's go. 2. To have. To have a. To have a bar. To have a bar of. To have a bar of it. 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 I'm not gonna have a bar of it. You're not gonna have a bar of it. She's not gonna have a bar of it. He's not gonna have a bar of it. We're not gonna have a bar of it. They're not gonna have a bar of it. It's not gonna have a bar of it. Good job. There is a lot of connected speech going on there, right? I'm not gonna have a bar of it. There is a lot of connected speech. Remember to check out the video, guys, in the Aussie English classroom to learn all of those tricks and tips. Anyway, let's go through the Aussie English fact for the day, guys, and then we will finish up and I will let you continue on your merry way with your day. You know, I'll let you keep doing whatever it is that you're doing. So, as we had that little documentary at the start that I was showing you that was shooting cats, talking about feral cats in Australia, I thought that we could talk a bit about feral cats in Australia and why they're such a problem. Okay, so how did cats get to Australia? Cats first arrived, obviously, with the first Europeans. So on the first ships that came to Australia. From when the first fleet arrived and onwards, there were definitely domestic cats in Australia. And it's even possible that the earlier Dutch shipwrecks around Australia released domestic cats onto the continent. So why were they on ships in the first place, though? Cats were on ships as they had been used elsewhere for millennia for pest control, right? They had been there in order to keep rats, mice, and even cockroaches at bay, to try and control those pest species, to control their numbers. So once the first fleet arrived in Australia, these cats were brought ashore and allowed to sort of roam freely in the hopes of controlling pests around the early colony. So these free-roaming domestic cats obviously escaped or just simply wandered off into the bush, but they were also intentionally released around farmland and homesteads in order to control rats and mice and rabbits as well. And rabbits are another problem pest in Australia that had also been released at about the same time as a source of food that people could hunt. So historical records date the introduction of cats to Australia to around 1804, and that the first cats became feral around Sydney by about 1820. And by the early 1900s, concern was expressed at the pervasiveness of the cat problem. So they were already a cat problem by the early 1900s. Okay, so cats became feral and they lived in the bush in Australia, but why is that a problem? You know, why are cute, cuddly, nice little cats a problem in Australia? So terrestrially speaking, that means in terms of talking about the land as opposed to the ocean, cats as a group of mammals, are some of the most successful predators to currently be inhabiting any parts of the world. So the world's environments and habitats, cats are an amazing predator. They are killing machines. In whichever environment you find them, they are stealthy assassins, stealthy killing machines. And despite being relatively newcomers to Australia, they are as successful here as anywhere else in the world Potentially even more so because so many of the animals in Australia are naive to cats. They do not understand that cats pose a threat, right? Because they haven't evolved with cats in the local environment. So cats also have very few predators, namely dingoes and wedge-tailed eagles, Australia's largest eagle, and dingoes are the native dog that we have here in Australia. So where these native Aussies don't live, the dingoes and the wedge-tailed eagles, cats reign supreme as the local apex predator, meaning the predator at the top of the food chain. They don't have to fear anyone eating them, and they can pretty much eat anything else. Feral cats also have a vicious and voracious appetite. They will eat pretty much anything that lands on their plate, anything that walks in front of them, right? Anything that they come across. Thus, they are very bad news for any ground nesting birds, any lizards, small mammals, frogs, insects that also live on the ground, and they have likely underpinned, that is, they have caused the population collapse and extinction of many Australian native animals, which is quite tragic. So they're currently thought to threaten the existence of at least 35 birds, 36 mammals, 7 reptiles, and 3 amphibians. Really, really tragic. So today, there are estimated to be about 3.3 million pet cats in Australia, that is domestic cats living in houses, and they're found in about 29% of Aussie homes. In comparison, so keep that number in mind, 3.3 million pets, there is between 18 and 23 million feral cats living, prowling, stealthily moving about all corners of the Australian continent except tropical rainforests. So there's almost one cat, there's potentially one cat per person roaming around free in Australia, killing native animals. So what does this mean? Well, greater than 18 million cats need to eat a lot of food. And that means 7 million native animals a day, to be precise, which equates to a staggering 27 billion animals per year that these cats eat in Australia. So obviously it is a heavy toll on the Australian environment, well, and the animals. Besides the obvious threat to native wildlife that this ferocious apex predator poses, they also pose a significant threat to your average household moggy, your average household cat, as they can transmit diseases, they can fight and injure your cats as well, so they're a big, big, big problem. This is why many Aussies, including your average Joe to your hunters as well as your conservationists and environmentalists, have declared war on the feral cat and want to see them eradicated from the wild. So though you may compare them to your average domestic cat, they are completely different. They are a completely different beast. They are vicious wild animals that pose a threat to the existence of numerous native species. If you own a cat in Australia, this is why it's so important to keep them inside at all times, so as to keep them away from other feral cats or people's pet cats next door, and also to prevent them running away, getting injured, and killing native animals too, most importantly. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you sort of have a bit more of a deeper understanding of Australian culture and to understand why cats are an amazing pet, but it's so important to keep them inside. Keep them locked up. Don't just let them roam around freely, okay? Anyway, I hope you have an amazing weekend, guys, and I will chat to you soon. All the best. Peace out. See you later. G'day, mate. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Aussie English Podcast. If you wish to support the podcast and help me keep bringing you content, you can do so via my Patreon page. Remember, it's my mission here at Aussie English not only to help you understand Australian English, but to speak it like a native. If that's your goal, make sure you enroll in the Aussie English Classroom, guys, where you'll get all the bonus content for today's episode designed to improve your English even faster. Have a ripper of a day, and I'll see you in class.